I always thought my life was perfect. My wife, Laura, smiled at me every morning like nothing could touch us. Our apartment smelled of fresh coffee and jasmine candles, and I had a job that paid well enough to never worry. "You're impossible," she teased one morning, nudging me with her shoulder. "Coffee's getting cold." I laughed, pouring the last drop into my mug. "I like my coffee hot and my mornings perfect," I said, smiling at her. She rolled her eyes, but I saw the faint twitch at the corner of her mouth. Something felt off. Later that evening, I noticed her on the couch, her phone glowing in the dim light. She was laughing quietly, hiding it when I looked up. "Who's texting you that funny?" I asked casually. She jumped a little. Just work stuff," she said, tucking the phone behind a cushion. Her voice was light, but her eyes darted away. "Work stuff at 10 p.m.? I raised an eyebrow, trying to stay calm. She chuckled nervously. "Yeah, big project. Deadlines are crazy." I nodded, forcing myself to accept it, but a strange weight settled in my chest. Over dinner, she was unusually chatty, but I noticed the subtle glances at her phone each time it buzzed. "You've been on your phone a lot tonight," I said, trying to sound casual. "I told you it's work," she replied a little too quickly. "You're imagining things," I told myself, sipping my wine. Maybe I was just tired. Maybe I was overthinking. But something inside me whispered otherwise. After dinner, I cleaned up the kitchen while she disappeared into our bedroom. I heard her laugh again, soft, secretive. My hand froze on the sponge. I knew that laugh. I'd heard it before when she thought no one was listening. I wanted to confront her, to ask outright, but I told myself I would wait. I wanted proof. Solid proof. I sat on the couch, pretending to scroll through my phone, pretending not to notice. "You okay?" she called from the bedroom. "Yeah, fine," I said, trying to sound casual. She didn't respond, but I heard the soft tap of keys, typing something. My heart skipped. I told myself again, work. It had to be work. An hour later, she came out wearing her usual silk blouse, smiling, but there was a tension in her shoulders I couldn't ignore. "Long night?" I asked. She shrugged. "Just finishing a report." I nodded silently, but the uneasy feeling didn't fade. I wanted to ask more, but something in me stopped. Maybe I was afraid of the answer. Later, I poured myself another drink and sat by the window. The city lights shimmered, but all I could see was the glow of her phone lying abandoned on the bed. Curiosity gnawed at me. I reached over and glanced. At it, not deeply, just enough to see a message pop up and disappear before I could fully read it. My stomach twisted. She noticed me looking, her eyes wide for a split second, then casual again. "What?" she asked, smiling. "Nothing," I muttered, trying to mask the churn of panic inside me. I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the tiny flicker of the message, the quick hide of her phone, her laugh echoing in my head. I felt like I was outside myself, watching our life from a distance, realizing how fragile it was. Was this the woman I married, the one I trusted with everything? Or was I blind all along? The next morning, she was cheerful again, kissing me on the cheek before leaving for work. "Have a good day," she said, smiling. I forced a smile back, but inside a storm was brewing. I remembered the fleeting message, the way she had flinched. I knew I couldn't ignore it anymore. Something was off. Something was hiding in plain sight. And for the first time in years, I felt the shadow of doubt, cold and sharp, cutting through everything I thought I knew. I pretended to focus on my coffee, but my mind raced. Who was she really texting? Was it just work, or was there something else? My hands tightened around the mug. I couldn't confront her yet, not without evidence, but I would find out. I had to. The perfect life I believed in had cracks. Tiny. At first, almost invisible. But now I saw the first fracture, and I knew it was only the beginning. And when I looked at her that morning, laughing at something on her phone, I realized something terrifying. I might not know her at all, EHP2, I never thought I'd find proof like this. I never imagined that the life I believed in, the trust, the comfort, the late-night laughs, was built on lies. And yet, there it was. Lara's texts, clear, undeniable. She had been seeing him. Not just him, plural actually, but one name jumped out at me like a knife. Mark. I recognized the arrogance in the way he wrote, the way she responded, the hidden excitement in her words. My hands shook as I read, my chest tightening. I threw my phone onto the couch. No, this can't be real, I whispered to myself, pacing the apartment. My mind spun in circles. Maybe it's a joke. Maybe she's just, I don't know, being friendly, I muttered. But every rationalization crumbled the second I replayed her words in my head. She wasn't friendly. She wasn't innocent. The door clicked behind me, and she stepped in, humming softly. You're home late, she said, glancing at me. Too casual. Too calm. Yeah, I, had some extra work, I replied, trying to steady my voice. You're distracted, I said, pointing at her phone lying on the table. She raised an eyebrow. Distracted? Me? Honey, come on. You're imagining things. Imagining things? I laughed bitterly, though it didn't reach my eyes. Lara, I saw your messages. I know about Mark, about the others. Her face paled for the first time. Just for a second. Then she smiled. A small, practiced smile. I don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what I'm talking about? I repeated, my voice rising. I have your texts. Every word. I know you've been cheating on me while pretending to be perfect. She took a step back, crossing her arms. Cheating? That's a harsh word. You're overreacting. Overreacting? I laughed again, shaking my head in disbelief. You told him you wanted an open relationship. You told him he could be with you, while I was sitting at work, trusting you, loving you. Overreacting? Really? I didn't mean for you to find out like this, she said softly. It wasn't, you didn't mean for me to find out? I cut her off. You didn't mean to ruin everything I believed in? You didn't mean to destroy my life? She hesitated, searching my eyes for a trace of forgiveness? Maybe. It wasn't like that. I love you. I needed something more. Something more? My voice cracked. You have me. I give you everything. And that's not enough? Is that it? Her lips trembled. I can't explain it. I didn't want to hurt you. I laughed bitterly again, the sound harsh in the empty apartment. Hurt me? Lara, this isn't hurt. This is betrayal. Pure, calculated betrayal. You made a choice. And you chose him. You chose someone else. She took a step closer, her voice pleading. I didn't choose him over you. I needed space. Freedom. I didn't want to lie. You didn't want to lie? I shook my head. You did lie. Every smile, every kiss, every night we spent together, you lied. And now you expect me to just... What? Accept it? Pretend it's okay? She bit her lip, avoiding my gaze. I didn't think it would happen like this. You didn't think it would happen like this? I echoed, my anger boiling over. You think destroying the person who trusted you, who loved you blindly, you think that's just an accident? Her shoulders slumped. I'm sorry. I laughed, a short, bitter sound. Sorry doesn't cut it. Not after this. Not after everything. Do you even understand what you've done? She whispered, almost to herself. I wanted something more. I'm sorry. I shook my head. I can't believe this. I trusted you. I loved you. And you used me as a stepping stone for your selfish desires. She flinched at the words, but didn't argue. For the first time, I saw fear in her eyes. Not fear of me, but fear of losing control. I didn't know how to stop it. I didn't know how to... You didn't know how to stop it? I shouted. You didn't know how to stop it because you didn't care. You wanted it all. You wanted him, and you wanted me, and you thought you could have it without consequences. She shook her head, tears forming. It's complicated. I can't explain everything. Complicated? I spat the word like venom. Life isn't complicated when you're honest. Life isn't complicated when you keep your promises. Life isn't complicated when you love someone. She fell silent. I could see the guilt, the panic, the helplessness, but I felt no relief, only a cold, rising determination. I realized then that I couldn't beg her, couldn't plead, couldn't hope for a change. This wasn't about saving us anymore. It was about saving myself. I took a deep breath, trying to steady the rage. I'm done begging, Lara. I'm done, pretending this can be fixed. I need to protect myself. I need to take control of my life before you destroy it completely. Her lips parted, as if to argue, but I held up a hand. No, you don't get to explain anymore. You made your choices. Now I make mine, she whispered, barely audible. I didn't... Save it, I said coldly. I will not forgive blindly. I will not pretend this didn't happen. You made your bed. Now I'm getting out of it. I turned away, feeling the first sense of empowerment in days. I wasn't just hurt anymore. I was awake. I wasn't a victim. I would act. I would protect myself. And she would finally see that her games had consequences. For the first time, I realized something terrifying and liberating all at once. I had lost the woman I loved, but I had found myself in the process. I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her face, Lara's perfect smile, and then the messages. Mark, the texts. Her laughter echoing in the apartment at midnight, the way she tucked her phone away when I looked. I felt sick, hollow, and furious all at once. I grabbed my phone and dialed Sam. My hands were trembling. Sam, I said, voice tight. I don't know what to do. Whoa. Calm down, man. What happened? His voice was steady, grounding. It's Lara. She's cheating. I saw the texts. Not flirting, I don't even know how many. Mark, others, I can't think straight. Shit, Sam said, quiet for a second. You're serious? I wish I wasn't. I keep replaying it in my head. She was smiling at me, pretending everything was fine, while texting him, laughing at him. Do you understand what that feels? Like? Yeah, Sam said carefully. I get it. But listen, man, don't lose your head. You need a plan, not a meltdown. I can't just plan, Sam. I trusted her. I believed in her. And she just... I don't even know how to finish that sentence without throwing up. You don't need to finish it. You feel it. That's enough. Look, first step, breathe. Second step, gather proof. Third, think about what you want. Revenge, closure, justice? Only you decide. I laughed bitterly. Breathe? Gather proof? I've been staring at the texts for hours. I've already seen proof. You have no idea how it feels to know your life is a lie. I do, Sam said softly. I know betrayal hurts. I know anger burns. But don't act on it yet. Not blindly. Not out of desperation. Document everything. Keep screenshots. Save timestamps. You need leverage. I can't believe I didn't notice. All the small things. The late-night texts, the laughter, the excuses. I thought it was work stress. I thought she was tired. I was blind. You were trusting. That's human. You can't fault yourself for believing the person you love. Human doesn't cheat. Human doesn't lie like this while pretending to love you. Human doesn't destroy everything quietly in the dark. I hear you, Sam said, but right now don't focus on hating her. Focus on what you control. Yourself, your next steps, your life. That's all that matters. I ran my hands through my hair. I keep thinking about the good times. Our first anniversary, the park, dinner dates, her laughing at my terrible jokes. And now, my voice broke. Now I can't even remember if it was real or just part of the lie. Memories don't disappear, man. But they don't define what you do next. You define that. I sank into the couch, staring at the ceiling. I hate that I still love her. I hate that I miss her smile while knowing what she's done. It's tearing me apart inside. That's because it matters. That's because you care. And caring is what makes this so damn painful. But it also means you have strength. You just need to focus it. I thought about her carefully curated social persona, the way she talked about friends she didn't like, the exaggerations, the manipulations. She's so good at lying, too good. Everyone believes her. That's part of why this hurts so much. Exactly, Sam said, and exactly why you need to be smart, calm, strategic. Don't rush, don't confront blindly, gather your evidence. Protect yourself. I can't just sit and wait, though, I said. I feel like every second I do, she's smiling at him, texting him, pretending with me. I need something. You have time, Sam said. You don't need action driven by anger. You need action driven by clarity. Don't lose that, or you're letting her win twice, once by cheating and again by controlling your reactions. I exhaled slowly. Sam's words, calm and measured, grounded me a little. Clarity, I repeated. I need clarity. Not revenge, not confrontation. Clarity. Exactly. Step back, step carefully. Decide what you want first, then act. You've got this, and I've got your back. I think I do, I admitted. I just need to stop feeling like I'm falling apart every time I remember her laugh or the way she'd kiss me goodnight. Memories. Hurt because they were real, Sam said. But reality is what you see now. And right now, reality is her betrayal. That's your focus. I nodded slowly, remembering the laughter, the park, the dinners. Each memory hit me like a hammer, but also like a map. I started seeing patterns I'd ignored before, the way she exaggerated stories, the subtle manipulations, the little cracks in her image, evidence for later, control for me. You're thinking too much, Sam said. Not the bad way, just focus on what matters. Don't let emotions make the first move. You'll screw it up if you act too soon. I know, I whispered. That's why I'm starting a notebook. Every text, every small lie, every inconsistency, I'll track everything. For my safety, for my sanity, for everything. Good, Sam said. That's smart. That's the first step. The next, well, we'll figure it out together. But step one, protect yourself. I looked at the empty apartment, quiet except for the hum of the city outside. My chest still ached, but my mind was clearing. I wasn't powerless. I had anger, yes, but I also had strategy. And I could turn that into something she couldn't take from me. Control over my life. I can't forgive blindly, I said aloud, almost to myself. Not now. Not ever. She made her choices. Now it's my turn to make mine. Carefully, deliberately, without losing myself. That's the spirit, Sam said. Keep your head, man. Don't let her ruin you. She can't have that power anymore. I closed my eyes and thought of her one last time that night, not with longing, but with clarity. I would protect myself legally. I would protect myself emotionally. And one day, she would see that her games had consequences, not through my anger, but through the life I took back. The emotional fallout was brutal, but it wasn't the end. It was the beginning. And for the first time in days, I felt something, like focus, determination, readiness. I wasn't broken. I was awakening. I sat in the lawyer's office, fingers tapping on the polished wood table. The air smelled faintly of leather and coffee, and I felt a strange mix of calm and tension. Mr. Harris, let's be direct, said Ms. Collins, leaning back in her chair. Her sharp eyes didn't miss a thing. Divorce is messy when there's infidelity involved, but it's also where leverage matters. Do you have evidence? I do, I said, keeping my voice even. Texts, emails, timestamps. She's lied, cheated, and manipulated everyone around her. I want to protect myself, legally and financially, but I want her to face the consequences. Ms. Collins nodded. Good. Documentation is critical. Screenshots, printed copies, anything digital, and witnesses. Anyone who can confirm her actions without bias. I hesitated, thinking about someone who could help. There's someone, her friend, Jason. He saw her sneaking out with him, Mark. Last month. He laughed about it later. I can get him to corroborate what I've seen. That could work, she said. But you need to be careful. Witnesses often panic. Approach them calmly, get statements in writing, and don't let emotions show. I can do that, I said, nodding. I need to be careful. I've learned my lesson. We went through the process step by step. She explained the division of assets, custody of the pets, and how evidence of betrayal strengthens my case. My mind wandered as she spoke, planning every step meticulously. I realized this wasn't just about revenge, it was about reclaiming my life, ensuring she couldn't manipulate or gaslight me anymore. After the meeting, I called Jason. He picked up after 2 rings. Hey, everything okay? He asked, sounding casual. I need your help, I said. It's Laura. You remember last month when you saw her with Mark? Oh, yeah, he said, hesitation in his voice. I didn't think it mattered. She's smart. She covered it up pretty well. It matters now, I said. I need your statement, in writing. I need someone to confirm what I already know. There was a long pause. Are you sure? I don't want to get dragged into drama. I'm sure, I said, calm, masking the anger I felt. I just need the truth. Can you help me? Yes. Okay. I can do that, he said finally. Thank you, Jason. That's all I need for now. Just honesty. I hung up and leaned back, thinking. One step closer. One piece of the puzzle in place. I started compiling screenshots, emails, and texts. Every lie she had told, every manipulation, every hidden message, carefully cataloged. My anger simmered beneath the surface, but I kept it hidden, deliberate, cold. That night, I ran through a scenario in my head. If I went public, everyone would know. Her friends, her colleagues, her family. But then, I might look vengeful, desperate, and I could lose control of the narrative. If I stayed quiet, worked through legal channels, I could win everything, privately, cleanly, with her underestimating me the whole time. Expose her or outsmart her, I whispered to myself, pacing the living room. Expose her and lose control or plan and win? I shook my head. Win, I decided. Always win. The next day, I met Jason at a small cafe, casual, public. He fidgeted with his cup. I don't want her knowing I said anything, he muttered. I understand, I said. No one will know. I just need you to confirm what you saw. That's it. He took a deep breath. Okay. She was with him. They were obvious. Laughing, holding, hands. I thought it was weird at the time, but she's so good at acting normal I didn't think twice. I nodded, jotting down notes. Exactly. That's what I need. Thank you. He hesitated. You're really going through with this? Huh? Yes, I said simply. I'm done pretending. I'm done hoping she'll change or admit anything. She believes she can still manipulate me. That's why I have to be strategic, calm, precise. Later, alone, I opened my notebook. Step 1, collect evidence. Step 2, witness statements. Step 3, document financials. Step 4, keep my emotions in check. Step 5, plan exposure carefully if necessary. Each point was a reminder that I was no longer the naive husband who overlooked the cracks. I thought about her, imagining her smug smile when she assumed I'd beg, plead, or cry. That confidence, that arrogance, would be her downfall. But I reminded myself I couldn't act on emotion. Every move had to be calculated. Every reaction deliberate. I had to control the narrative. I had to control myself. Even as anger simmered, I smiled faintly. You think I'll be weak, Lara? You think you can fool me again? You've underestimated me for the last time. I started noticing more details. Emails she deleted, friends who laughed too loudly at her stories, moments when her public charm slipped just slightly. Each tiny crack was a piece of evidence, a seed for the future. I cataloged them quietly, deliberately, knowing they would matter. By the end of the day, I had a binder full of evidence, notes, witness statements, and financial records. My fury was under control, replaced by clarity. I had a plan. I had direction. And I had a sense of power I hadn't felt in weeks. The moral dilemma lingered, though. Should I expose her publicly, humiliate her, show everyone who she really was? Or quietly win, legally and decisively, letting karma play out without my hand showing? The answer was simple. Patience. Let her overestimate me. Let her keep believing she could manipulate me, and then act at the perfect moment. I closed the binder and leaned back, exhaling slowly. Lara had no idea what I was capable of. She thought she could still control me, charm me, distract me. But I had clarity, evidence, witnesses, and strategy. I was ready to take back my life, calmly, coldly, and deliberately. And as I stared at her picture on the desk, I whispered, not with longing, but with quiet determination. You thought I'd be easy to fool. You thought you could still control me. You were wrong. Completely wrong.
I waited in the living room, the binder with every piece of evidence on the coffee table in front of me. Lara walked in, smiling like nothing had changed. That smile stopped the second she saw the binder. "What's all this?" she asked, her tone casual, but her eyes flickered to the edge of panic. "I think you know," I said calmly, my voice even, measured. "We need to talk." Her lips twitched, like she was practicing charm. "Talk about what, exactly? You're acting weird." I opened the binder slowly. "This, Lara. Every lie, every manipulation, every text you thought I'd never see. Every hidden conversation with Mark, and others. All here." Her face paled. "You, what? How did you get all that?" "I collected it," I said evenly. "Screenshots, emails, witness statements. Even Jason confirmed what he saw last month. Laughing, sneaking out. You thought you were smart, but I was careful." "You're insane," she snapped, trying to regain control. This is ridiculous. You're twisting things." "I didn't." I cut her off, keeping my tone calm but firm. "You did. You lied. You cheated. You manipulated everyone around you. And now you're trying to gaslight me into thinking it's my fault. It's not. Every move, every text, every excuse, it's all documented. Do not lie to me." She stepped closer, voice shaking. I didn't mean for it to go this far. I didn't. I love you." "Love." I laughed bitterly. "Love doesn't look like this, Lara. Love doesn't sneak around at midnight, texting him while pretending to smile at your husband." She flinched but didn't back down. "You're overreacting. Everyone has their... This was complicated." "Complicated," I repeated, my voice calm, dangerous. "It's not complicated. It's betrayal. Plain and simple. And you thought you could get away with it. That's over." Her breathing quickened, her hands trembling slightly. "You're being unreasonable. You're reading too much into things. You're paranoid." "I'm not paranoid," I said, flipping through the binder. "I'm precise. Here, look at this text." I read aloud, slowly, deliberately. "I can't wait to see you tonight. You make me feel alive." Do you recognize that tone, Lara? It's not work-related. It's not innocent. This is exactly what you wrote to him. She swallowed hard. No. You don't get to me your way out of this, I said, my voice firm. And here, emails, pictures, witness statements. Jason confirmed it. Everyone who saw you with him can corroborate. You're out of excuses. Her eyes darted to the window, like maybe the neighbors were listening. You wouldn't show this to anyone. I smiled faintly, coldly. I don't need to. Yeah. But subtlety matters. I've already shared pieces with your friends, family. Nothing drastic, just enough for them to notice the inconsistencies in your stories. The cracks you thought no one could see. You're losing control of your image, Lara. And it's entirely your doing. She backed up, panic rising. You wouldn't dare. That's cruel. Cruel. I repeated, leaning forward slightly. It's truth. I'm not cruel. I'm just no longer naive. You underestimated me. You thought I'd cry, beg, or forgive blindly. That's over. I didn't know. I didn't. Her voice cracked, desperation seeping through. I was confused. Confused. I laughed bitterly. You were choosing him over me. And now you're trying to play the victim? Look at yourself, Lara. Look at what you've done. I have proof, witnesses, documentation. And I am calm. Not because I forgive you. Not because I accept it. But because I am finally in control. She looked away, voice small. I thought you'd never find out. I thought I could manage you. You thought wrong, I said, voice low, steady. I managed myself. I collected evidence, confirmed the facts, and now I confront you. Calm, composed, strategic. You, on the other hand, are panicking. Your control is gone. And there's nothing you can do to get it back. Her lips trembled. You'll ruin me. People will hate me. I don't need to ruin you, I interrupted. You've done that yourself. All I did was gather the truth. And I've shown enough for you to realize that your lies are visible, your manipulation is exposed. That's enough to take away your control without a single public outburst from me. She sank into the couch, breathing hard, eyes wide. You're being cruel. No, I said softly, almost soothingly. I'm being fair. You had choices. You chose betrayal, secrecy, lies. I'm choosing clarity, truth, and self-protection. And you are powerless to stop it. Her voice dropped to a whisper. I didn't think you'd see through it all. I thought You thought you could manipulate me, gaslight me, and pretend it never happened, I said, calmly flipping to another page. But I saw everything. And now, you know the truth. Your facade is cracking, Lara. And this time, it's permanent. You cannot charm or manipulate your way out of this. Her hands shook. You don't understand. I understand perfectly, I said, voice firm. I understand your selfishness, your arrogance, your lies. And I understand that I am finally free from your control. I don't need your love. I don't need your lies. I just need my life back, my peace, my dignity. She looked at me, eyes glassy. You won't forgive me? I won't, I said calmly. Not blindly. Not ever. I forgive nothing until I reclaim everything that's mine. And I will. Quietly, strategically, and without losing myself. That's the difference between you and me, Lara. You acted recklessly. I act deliberately. The room was silent except for her shaky breathing. I leaned back, feeling a sense of empowerment I hadn't felt since discovering her betrayal. For the first time, I realized she had no control over me anymore. Not over my emotions, not over my life, not over my future. You're done, I said simply. And you know it. She lowered her gaze, defeated, panic still flickering in her eyes. I thought I could. You thought wrong, I said, voice calm, final. Your control is gone. Mine is here. Mine is steady. And it will stay that way until every lie you've told is met with truth, and every betrayal accounted for. You underestimated me, Lara. You made your bed. Now you lie in it. She stayed silent, her breathing uneven, and I realized she had finally accepted it. No charm, no pleading, No manipulation could reach me now. I was calm, focused, and in control. And for the first time in weeks, I felt powerful. I didn't need to confront her this time. Karma was doing it for me. I was at a cafe, laptop open, sipping coffee, when my phone buzzed. A text from Emily, one of Lara's old colleagues. "Have you heard?" It read. "Lara's been saying weird things at work. Everyone's talking." I smiled faintly, setting the phone down. I didn't reply. I wanted to watch the unraveling quietly, like a storm creeping over calm waters. Later, I received a call from my brother. "Hey, have you spoken to anyone from her side? Friends? Family?" "Not recently," I said. "Why?" "They're noticing things. Her lies. The stories don't add up. People are questioning her." I laughed softly. "Finally. About time." "She called my mom today," he continued. Panicked, trying to explain herself. Mom told her she can't just expect everyone to believe her anymore. People are seeing cracks. I leaned back in my chair. Good. Let her panic. Let her scramble. That's what happens when you build a house on lies. "She's trying to call you," he added. "Not answering," I said firmly. "She already knows I have control. I don't need to give her another chance to manipulate me." By evening, my phone was buzzing again. A text from her, "Please, just talk. I can explain everything." I didn't reply. Instead, I called Sam. "She's trying to reach me," I said, voice steady. "Texts, calls. She's panicking." "Good," Sam said. "Don't respond. Let her anxiety grow. It's natural. Karma's in motion." I thought about the friends she had tried to impress, the colleagues she had lied to, the family she had misled. All of them were now noticing the inconsistencies she could no longer cover up. Every small lie, every exaggeration, was surfacing naturally. A few days later, I attended a casual gathering. Lara was there, smiling, pretending nothing had happened. But the room felt different. Conversations stopped when she approached. People whispered. I caught snippets. "Did you see what she posted online?" Someone whispered to another. "She's not telling the truth about last weekend. I know someone who saw her. She always acts perfect, but I don't think anyone believes her anymore." I sipped my drink, letting the murmurs wash over me. Lara's panic was subtle but evident. Her eyes darted toward every group, seeking reassurance, but there was none. She tried explaining to a small circle, voice rising in desperation. "No, you don't understand. That's not what happened. I didn't." "You see," I whispered to myself, quietly satisfied, "truth has a way of walking into the room without being invited." Her friends didn't respond. They nodded politely, then moved away, leaving her standing, flustered. I could hear her heartbeat in the slight tremor of her voice, though she tried to mask it with laughter. Later, her sister approached me. Neutral, unbiased. "I don't know how you did it, but people are noticing her inconsistencies. She's panicking, and it's obvious. You're handling this better than anyone else could." I smiled, quietly, without gloating. Sometimes, you just step back and let things take their course. "She's trying to call and text me constantly," Lara shouted when she found me alone later. "Why aren't you answering? You can't just ignore me." "I'm not ignoring karma, Lara," I said calmly. "I'm letting it do its work. You've created this situation. You're the architect of your own chaos." "You're cruel," she said, voice shaking. "I didn't expect you to. This is unfair." "Unfair," I repeated. "You cheated. You lied. You manipulated. Fairness isn't about what happens to you when you do wrong. Fairness is about truth being acknowledged." Her shoulders slumped. She looked around, desperate, and I noticed the subtle way people kept their distance. Friends exchanging glances, family members avoiding eye contact. Her social armor was crumbling naturally. "You don't understand," she whispered. "People will forgive me. They always do." "They might," I said quietly, "but not when the truth is clear. Not when you've been exposed without my interference. You're watching your control slip through your fingers, And that panic you feel, it's entirely yours." Her voice dropped, almost a whisper. "You're enjoying this." "I'm observing," I corrected. "I'm watching someone finally face the consequences of their choices. I'm not reveling in it. I'm learning from it. And I'm gaining control over my life again. You don't get to manipulate me, not now, not ever." She didn't respond, just stared, her breathing uneven, voice gone. I felt a strange sense of calm, a quiet satisfaction that wasn't revenge. It was closure, clarity, and control. A few days later, I ran into her ex-colleague, Martin. Neutral, pragmatic, and careful with words. "She's different now," he said cautiously. "People notice her little slips, the exaggerations. It's subtle, but you can tell she's under pressure." I nodded. That's all I wanted. Not public humiliation. Just truth being recognized. "That's enough." Martin smiled faintly. "You handled this well. Calm, deliberate. Most people would have exploded, made it messy. You're strategic." "Thanks," I said simply. "It's about reclaiming control. Not showing power. Just taking back what was lost." That evening, I watched Lara from a distance as she tried to socialize at a family event. She smiled, laughed, but the laughter was forced. People were polite, but guarded. Her usual charm wasn't working. Subtle questions, sideways glances, and whispered doubts followed her everywhere. I realized something important. I didn't need to act. Karma, combined with truth, was far more effective than any scheme I could have orchestrated. I felt a shift in myself. From victim to observer. From anger to focus. From hurt to empowerment. And most importantly, I no longer feared her manipulation. When she finally noticed me watching, panic flared briefly in her eyes. But I didn't move. I didn't say a word. I didn't need to. Her social collapse, subtle and natural, was enough. She realized, finally, that control had shifted entirely. I whispered quietly, to no one in particular, "You thought you could break me. You thought you could control me. Now, the world sees the cracks, and I've taken back my life. Calmly, deliberately, and without losing myself. That's power, Lara. Real power." And for the first time in weeks, I felt completely, undeniably, free. The courtroom felt quieter than I expected, almost surreal. I sat across from Lara, binder in hand, each page a testament to every lie, every betrayal she had tried to hide. "Mr. Harris," the judge said, glancing at the documents, "you've provided substantial evidence of infidelity and misrepresentation. Has your wife had the opportunity to respond?" "Yes, Your Honor," I replied, voice calm. "She has been made aware of every claim and given ample time to respond. All responses were inconsistent with the documented facts." Lara shifted, eyes darting toward the gallery, hoping someone, anyone, would rescue her. But there was no one. Only truth, undeniable, in print. I can explain," she stammered, voice trembling. "It wasn't like that. You don't understand." "I understand perfectly," I interrupted softly, leaning back in my chair. "I understand your choices, your actions, and the consequences you've created. No explanations will change that." Her lips quivered. You don't have to make it public, though. We could settle quietly." No," I said firmly. "I've already been quiet. I've allowed you space to reveal your own truths, but the facts speak for themselves. This isn't about humiliation, it's about accountability." The judge nodded. "Understood. Based on the evidence, I am granting the divorce. Assets and financial agreements are finalized per Mr. Harris's documentation. The plaintiff is awarded full control of shared property, and Mr. Harris's rights are fully protected." I exhaled, feeling a weight lift off my shoulders. Calm, composed, collected, finally. I had done it. And it wasn't about revenge. It was about reclaiming my life. After the hearing, I stepped outside. Sunlight hit my face, warm and steady. Lara followed, hesitant, whispering my name. "Wait, please. Can we talk?" she asked, voice small. "I think we've said everything we needed to," I said quietly. "Actions speak louder than words, Lara." You've seen the consequences of your choices. I don't need to add commentary. She lowered her gaze. I didn't think you'd handle it so calmly. You thought I'd beg, cry, plead, I said, letting a small, dry smile slip. That's not me anymore. I learned a few lessons about trust, betrayal, and the importance of boundaries. Her lips trembled. I regret everything. I don't doubt that, I said softly. But regret doesn't erase actions. You'll have to live with the consequences, just as I get to live with my peace, my clarity, and my integrity. Later, I met Sam and Emily at a small cafe. So, Sam asked, raising an eyebrow. Victory taste like freedom or satisfaction? Both, I said, sipping my coffee. Freedom from manipulation, satisfaction in truth. Not revenge, just clarity. I've learned I can survive betrayal without losing myself. Emily smiled. You handled everything impressively. Calm, deliberate, and strategic. You didn't let emotions run the show. That's the key, I said. Emotion is a tool, not a leash. I let truth and strategy guide me, not anger or spite. Sam chuckled. And you're standing tall. I'd have exploded weeks ago. I might have once, I admitted. But not now. I've transformed this pain into focus, and focus into control. Later that evening, I walked through the park near my apartment, reflecting on the journey. I remembered nights of doubt, the gnawing pain of betrayal, the frantic texts, and the heartbreak. And yet, I had survived, grown, and reclaimed myself. A woman jogged past, waving to someone I didn't know. Children played nearby. Life continued, indifferent, ordinary. And for the first time in months, I felt normal again. Grounded. In control. I glanced at my phone. A message from Martin, the neutral colleague. Saw you today. Well done. Integrity speaks louder than words. I smiled faintly. Thanks, I whispered to myself. Integrity. I never knew it felt this good. That night, I sat on my balcony, overlooking the city lights. A quiet satisfaction filled me. Laura would face the social consequences, subtle though they were. Friends, colleagues, and family had seen cracks in her charm. Her regret was visible, her panic traceable, yet she would learn slowly that actions have long shadows. I whispered into the night, softly but firmly, You underestimated me, Laura. You thought I'd crumble, that I'd beg for forgiveness. I didn't. I reclaimed my life, my peace, and my control. And I am stronger for it. The phone buzzed again, another message from Emily. Dinner tomorrow? Celebration. You earned it. I replied with a small smile. I'll be there. And I'll raise a glass to clarity, control, and lessons learned. I thought about everything I'd gone through, the heartbreak, the rage, the sleepless nights, the meticulous planning. All of it led to this moment. Not vengeance, not cruelty. Just truth, empowerment, and self-transformation. I remembered Lara's frantic attempts to gaslight me, her pleading, her manipulation. And I realized how far I'd come. I didn't fear confrontation anymore. I didn't tremble at deception. I didn't need her approval or affection. A small victory, perhaps, but significant nonetheless. For the first time in months, I felt completely, undeniably in control. I exhaled, feeling a quiet joy. My reflection in the window showed someone taller, stronger, steadier. I had faced betrayal and survived. I had learned, grown, and transformed. And as I looked at the city below, lights flickering like distant stars, I whispered once more, softly, This is my life, my peace, my clarity, and no one, not even her, can take it from me. I smiled. For the first time in a long time, I was free. I sat on the edge of the pier, feet dangling above the water, watching the sun sink slowly behind the horizon. The sky was painted in streaks of orange and purple, calm and indifferent to the chaos I'd endured. You're quiet, a voice behind me said. I glanced back. It was Sam, leaning casually against the railing. Just thinking, I said softly, not wanting to speak too much. Words felt unnecessary here. The water reflected my emotions better than any conversation could. "You look different," he said. "Calm. Focused. Not the guy who called me last month, shouting about Lara." I chuckled lightly. "I've learned something important. Anger is useful only if it guides you, not controls you. I used to be all reaction, no thought. Now," I trailed off, looking at the horizon. "Now I feel in control." "Finally." He nodded. "I've noticed. You've changed. It suits you." "You know," I began, voice quiet, reflective, "it wasn't about revenge. It never was. I wanted clarity, my life back, and respect for myself. I have that now. Everything else, her panic, her regret, her crumbling reputation, that's just natural consequences." "Sounds like karma," Sam said, half smiling. "Maybe," I admitted. "But I didn't have to push it. I didn't have to humiliate her. I just acted carefully, strategically. And truth did the rest." We sat in silence for a moment. The wind ruffled the water. My mind wandered to the months of heartbreak, the sleepless nights, the texts I shouldn't have seen, the confrontations, and the courtroom. Every moment had led me here, to a place of peace, clarity, and self-respect. "You've really grown," Sam said finally. "I mean, this isn't just surviving. This is thriving after betrayal." I nodded, letting the words sink in. Thriving. I had been naive, I had trusted blindly, I had been shocked, devastated, and enraged. But I had planned, acted, and reclaimed control. And through it all, I discovered a strength I didn't know I had. "Do you ever think about her?" Sam asked, carefully. "Sometimes," I admitted. "But it's not longing. It's understanding. Understanding the lessons she forced me to learn. Trust, boundaries, self-worth. All of it. Painful lessons, yes, but necessary." "And the future?" he asked. I smiled faintly. "The future is mine. I don't know who will be in it, or what it will bring. But I know I won't be broken by lies again. I won't let someone else's selfishness dictate my life. I've learned to value myself first. And that's liberating." Sam leaned back, watching the water. "You're peaceful. I mean, truly peaceful. I think I see the man you were meant to be all along." I let the compliment linger, quiet and satisfying. "It took betrayal to get here," I said softly. "I had to hit rock bottom, face heartbreak, and fight for control. But now I feel like I can face anything." The sun disappeared completely, leaving a gentle twilight. The water mirrored the fading light, calm, reflective, endless. And in that quiet, I realized the last pieces of my anger and grief had dissolved. "I'm ready," I whispered to myself, voice barely audible over the gentle lapping of the water. "Ready for life without her. Ready to embrace clarity, self-respect, and happiness that isn't dependent on anyone else. I've learned the hardest lessons and survived them." Sam glanced at me. "You really are ready." "I am," I said, finally standing. "And not just ready. I'm empowered. I've reclaimed myself." I took a deep breath, letting the cool evening air fill my lungs. Each exhale felt like a release, letting go of the last remnants of betrayal, heartbreak, and doubt. "You know," I said quietly, "I think this is what closure feels like. Not vengeance. Not anger. Just peace and certainty. Knowing I did the right thing for me, and nothing more." Sam smiled. "You earned it. Every bit of it." I nodded, feeling a quiet gratitude, for friends, for clarity, and for the strength I discovered within myself. I looked at the water one last time before turning to walk away. Behind me, the pier stretched into the darkening horizon, empty, serene, a perfect reflection of how I felt inside. No more manipulation, no more lies, no more heartbreak. Just me, my life, and the freedom I fought for. And for the first time in months, I felt ready to truly move forward.